Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to be talking about a must-know thinking trap that can hinder you from reaching your potential. And that thinking trap is believing that your fears are factual. When our fears are presented to us, they present themselves as concrete. They cause us to minimize or even sometimes ignore any evidence that is contrary to the fear, and it causes us to kind of paralyze and stop in our tracks. It gets us so consumed with the fear that we're actually responding to the fear as if it was a fact. So let's break down what fear is, right? So fear is an unpleasant emotion caused by the belief that someone or something is dangerous, likely to cause pain or threat, right? So just think about when you get ready to take another step or do something different or pivot in the things that you're doing. Fear may come up because it's saying, wait, what are we trying to do? We're trying to do something different. We don't know. This may be dangerous. Like, this is definitely a threat to the way that we usually do things. What if this doesn't work? What is it? So once you get caught up in that fear, most of the times this is how we fall into the trap. We see the fear, we know it's fear, but then we give the fear the power. And one way that you know that you're giving the fear the power is because it's kind of like you stop in your tracks, or you overthink so much so that you never end up doing the thing. You never end up taking the step. You never end up reaching the next level of your potential because the fear now has the power. And what I'm saying in this video is that we can't treat our fears as if they are facts. When we do that, also what happens is we get really discouraged, and it almost becomes like a self-fulfilling prophecy. So let me give you an example. Say before I got on YouTube, some fears came up, and some of the fears that I had were nobody's gonna listen to you. Nobody's gonna subscribe to your channel. No one's gonna find your content helpful. If I would have given that fear the power, I would have never started. And that would have thus reinforced in my mind of like, okay, what's the point of me doing it anyway? Nobody's gonna listen. No one's gonna subscribe to me. Nobody's gonna find this content helpful. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. And in that sense too, it makes me feel that I'm not enough. It can make me feel like discouraged. It can keep me from moving forward in other areas of my life. And it keeps me away from the possibility of another outcome. Fear has a way of robbing us from potential. Fear has a way of keeping us sometimes for even looking and exploring and being on the journey of obtaining more in life. Because fear says, because these are the likely outcomes, I suggest that you don't even start. Because you may get hurt along the way, I suggest that you stay right where you are. Because you may have to put in more work after hours, I suggest that you don't even start. Right? And it keeps us stuck, and it keeps us stagnant in the box that we've always been in. So if you are someone who you're like, I need to take a next step, I need to get out of my comfort zone, but you feel that fear rising up every time you do it, here are some things that may be helpful for you. So one thing that fear does is it shuts down our creativity, and it shuts down at times our ability to problem solve. So as you're thinking about your next step, write down all of your resources. Write down things that may be helpful to you on the journey, right? So when that fear comes up, you can say, or you can write out even a script that says, I'm gonna start my YouTube channel. We're just gonna use that example. I'm gonna start my YouTube channel. These are my resources. Maybe I'm gonna take a course. Maybe I'm gonna reach out to someone who already know is doing the YouTube channel to see what tips that they have. Maybe I can get feedback from the folks that are watching the channel to see what I can do better with, right? So write down like your problem solving, write down all of your resources so that way when the feeling, the unpleasant emotion of fear comes up, you have some things already that you can use to counteract that. Okay, second thing is, you remember how I said that fear makes us minimize all the other forms of evidence. Okay, so the second step is check your resume, right? More than we know it, we've been faced with fears before that we've overcame, right? So fear, it doesn't really change its shape. Fear is an unpleasant feeling that's going to come every time there is a belief that is dangerous or a threat or likely to cause pain, right? So if you are a mother, you went through childbirth. If you are a student in college, you've overcame the fear of going through the application process, being accepted, signing up for your classes. If you are on a job, you've gone through the process and the fears of filling out the application, going through the interview, getting the job, learning the job. Check your resume. You've overcame fear before and you can overcome fear again, right? It's a skill that you already have. The third thing that you can do, and this is more so, let me look back at my notes to make sure I'm saying this right. Okay, so the third thing that you can do is to create like an affirmation or a mantra. And this mantra, you're going to say it to yourself: I can do difficult things, I can navigate difficult emotions, right? There are going to be some pieces of stepping into your potential that are going to be difficult, that are not going to feel good. But what you need to be able to tell yourself is that I can do difficult things, I can navigate through difficult emotions. And that's going to speak to your confidence, because fear will usually tell us, you've never seen anything like this before. There's no way we can prepare for it. You can't do it. But one, you got to check your resume, and two, who on the earth has not been through difficult things, right? You can do it. Sometimes we just have to remind ourselves that I can navigate through difficult emotions and I can do difficult things, right? So I hope this has been helpful. The thinking trap, once again, is that fears are factual, fears are not factual. And if we do give the fear the power, it will enforce that self-fulfilling prophecy of that fear, and it will keep us from the very thing that we are fearing. If we give into fear, it will keep us from the very thing, or it will bring us to the very thing that we are fearing. Better said. Okay, so I hope this helps, and y'all have a great day. Bye.